My new work has been released. Welcome everyone to read my work in tomato novel. I hope everyone can enjoy it. Your attention is the driving force behind my writing, and I will strive to tell every story well. Chapter 1. Birth. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 226 BC, the 21st year of the reign of King Qin. Outside the palace gate, a eunuch was standing outside waiting. The palace gate opened and a eunuch walked out. The eunuch asked, "What's going on? Have you been born? Is it a prince or a princess?" "Sir, madam gave birth to a prince, but..." "The prince won't cry," said the imperial physician anxiously. "Isn't it a prince?" The eunuch hadn't finished speaking yet. The imperial physician said, "The prince is unharmed and normal, but I have tried my best. The prince never cries and behaves strangely. Please report to the king, sir." Not long after, King Yingzheng of Qin arrived and took the child, feeling curious. The child looked at him with curious eyes. Yingzheng felt an inexplicable feeling as he looked at the child. Firstly, when he arrived, the eunuch had already said that the prince would not cry. Secondly, because the child's expression did not resemble that of a newborn child. "Father, how is your younger brother?" asked Fu Su, who was beside Yingzheng. On the way here just now, he heard eunuchs say that Fu Su was also curious. He had seen many of Fu Su's younger brothers and sisters, but none of them were born without crying, especially Hu Hai, who cried loudly. "How is madam doing?" Yingzheng handed the child to Fu Su. "Your Majesty, madam has just given birth to a prince and needs careful care." Before the imperial physician could finish speaking, the palace maid rushed out in a panic and said, "No problem, madam's blood avalanche." The imperial physicians quickly treated her, but unfortunately, the medical level in ancient times was limited. Yingzheng could only sigh. He also understood that giving birth to a woman is a matter of life and death. "Let's call this child Hong." Then Yingzheng explained everything else and went back. It was time to fight against the other countries, and Yingzheng couldn't focus too much on this child. Fusu and his younger brother first returned to their mother's place, and then Yingzheng made arrangements. Yinghong, a person who suddenly traveled through the 21st century, opened his eyes and saw someone holding him, with others beside him. "What's wrong with me? How am I being held? Who are these people?" A man thought to himself as he brought him over, patted and pinched him, and said something to others, but he couldn't understand. Yinghong had always felt strange about the suddenly unfamiliar environment and unfamiliar people, and couldn't understand what they were saying. He was feeling annoyed. These people were still fidgeting with him, cursing and trying to push him away with their hands, only to find that he had become a baby. The system prompts that the host has successfully traversed, and check that IN will receive rewards. System. Time travel. Who's talking nonsense about what? What is check that IN? Check that IN. Successful check that IN rewards the host's ability to distinguish and listen to dialects. Yinghong is still pondering, and a few more people have entered outside. A man led by him picked him up, looked at each other for a while, and then handed himself over to a boy who looked like he was 8 or 9 years old. Listening to what they were saying, suddenly a palace maid ran out in a panic, followed by chaos, and then the man said a few words before leaving. As he walked out holding his own boy, Yinghong slowly regained his composure and pondered over what had happened earlier. What's going on with crossing systems? How did he become like this? If I had really crossed paths, then the person I was staring at earlier would not have been my father, but also my brother. Afterwards, Yingzheng took Yinghong out of the palace and arranged for him to stay in a villa on the outskirts in order to prevent him from being involved in internal palace fights. Although Yingzheng occasionally visited twice, he still focused on unifying the 6 countries, while Fusu only visited a few times. Externally, Yingzheng claimed that Yinghong died young in order to protect him, so Yinghong is also known as Zhao Hong when he is away. Chapter 2. First time going out. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. In 220 BC, the first emperor lived for 27 years. 6 years have passed in a blink of an eye. Successful check that IN rewards the host with unparalleled physique. The hygiene environment in this world is still too poor now. With an unparalleled physique, there is no need to worry too much about dying from illness one day, Zhao Hong thought to himself. It's the busy season of spring now, so since there's nothing to do in the village, why don't we go around the countryside today? Zhao Hong then took eunuch Lu to a nearby village for a stroll. Seeing the farmers working in the fields, he decided to stop and take a look. Zhao Hong looked for a while, and the more he looked, the more he felt it was not right. These people were too casual in their farming, just making a shallow ditch and then sowing the seeds. This planting method is far from what future generations will see. Even with careful care, there may not be any harvest. Zhao Hongzhua pondered and walked forward, realizing that farmers here all farm in this way. He stopped and shouted to an old farmer, "Old man, you can't plant like this. After a year, besides taxes, can you still earn income?" The old farmer heard a voice so childish, looked up and saw that he was dressed differently. He quickly replied, "I dare not deceive the nobles. Our ancestors have been farming like this for generations, and there is nothing wrong with it. I dare not speak big about the harvest. If there are no other heavy taxes and levies this year, the harvest can still barely make it through. If the weather is good again, it will be a good year, and there is no need to worry about starving to death. Elderly people, planting food should be deeply buried and then covered with soil. I see that when you plant, there is a shallow ditch. Just sow seeds and don't bury them. How can there be a harvest?" Zhao Hong continued. "We have been planting it this way for generations, and there is nothing wrong with it. However, we have never heard of the methods suggested by the nobles. Moreover, deep trenching requires the plow to run several times, which would delay the farming season." Zhao Hong didn't say much anymore and continued to walk forward. When he got tired, he took a car and continued to move forward. Sitting in the car, Zhao Hong suddenly asked Lu, "Uncle Lu, is there any arable land on our estate?" "Young master, there are still 300 acres of farmland on the estate that have been cultivated recently." "Young master, should we go back and take a look?" "Wait a moment, Uncle Lu. Do you know where the craftsman's shop is? Let's go there first. I have something to do." "Young master, I know there is a craftsman's shop nearby. I'll take you there." At the craftsman's shop, Zhao Hong took out a blueprint for the craftsman, which showed the curved plow that Zhao Hong had drawn on the car. "Young master, what are you? I have never seen it before." "This is a plow for farming in the field, but it's a bit different from the plow in peacetime. You just need to do it." The craftsman saw that Zhao Hong was young, but his clothes were not ordinary. The craftsman listened but did not move. Instead, he looked at the paper handed over to Zhao Hong, which he had never seen before. After a moment of confusion, he held on to the paper and asked, "Young master, what is this? I have never seen it before. It's so lightweight, but it doesn't look like cloth. Where did it come from?" "You just need to make the plow on this picture. It doesn't matter how much it costs, how long does it take." This paper was made using the paper-making technique of Zhao Hong's attendant's reward. It was said that no one in Zhuangzi understood it, so they had to make it themselves, and the quantity was not large. This Chu Yuanli is also a knowledge of sign in rewards, so even if the craftsman asks Zhao Hong this, he cannot explain. The craftsman stopped asking, "The money is not worth much. I don't think it's difficult to make this plow. It can be made tomorrow." "Okay, I'll send someone to pick it up tomorrow." The next day, Zhao Hong arranged for people to go and fetch plows, and he himself gathered farmers and slaves in the cultivated land on the farm. "In a moment, I will have someone bring a new plow, and you can use it to cultivate according to the method I said. The current method is not good, it has been a year of hard work but cannot produce grain. Then Zhao Hong repeated his own method. When the servant retrieved the new plow, the land that was originally required to be plowed in 3 days according to Zhao Hong's standards was plowed in 1 day with the new plow. This curved plow is more labor-saving and efficient than a straight plow. Afterwards, eunuch Lu reported this matter to Ying Zheng, who also felt it was wonderful. His son, who was only 6 years old, did not expect such ingenuity. However, Ying Zheng did not pay much attention to the farming methods mentioned by Lu and the paper handed over by Zhao Hong to the craftsman. The country had just been unified, and there were still too many things to deal with. Chapter 4. The Teacher Sent by Dad. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. In the car, Emperor Shi asked Zhao Gao, "How is Qing Miao?" "Your Majesty, since your surrender, Qing Miao has been in Yunyang prison." "Zhao Gao, pass on my decree to pardon Qing Miao and let him come to Xianyang to see me." A few days later, in the Xianyang palace, Ying Zheng looked at Qing Miao kneeling below and said, "Qing Miao, I have issued an edict to pardon you." "Do you know why?" "Your Majesty, I am not aware of this, but I came across it by chance while in prison. I am currently organizing and simplifying the font, and I have a clear idea. I kindly request your Majesty's mercy so that I can complete this matter." Ying Zheng became interested in Qing Miao's simplified words and asked Zhao Gao to present them. Ying Zheng looked at Qing Miao's simplified words and said, "Although it's not as simplified as Hong Er's, I can also see that Qing Miao has put a lot of effort into it." It seems that this candidate is right, Ying Zheng thought to himself. "Qing Miao, this matter is not a temporary matter. I can let you continue to do it. However, I have something else for you to do. The Empress Dowager's nephew has a son named Zhao Hong, who is currently in Xianyang. He is 6 years old and intelligent. You can go to Zhuangzi and become his master." Qing Miao kowtowed to Emperor Shi and was about to leave the palace when Ying Zheng stopped him. "When you arrive at Zhuangzi, you are just a rural educator. Don't reveal your identity, and then you should be called Cien." On the 3rd day after the last conversation with Ying Zheng, Lu brought in more than 50 children of similar age to Zhao Hong. Although Zhao Hong said he wanted both men and women, there were still more boys. These days, Zhao Hong has been playing with these people in the village like an ordinary child. With the experience and means of his previous life, Zhao Hong has easily become the king of these children. One day, Lu took Qing Miao to Zhuangzi and said, "Mr. Tsen, this is the young master's estate. You will be responsible for the young master's studies in the future." Lu did not know Qing Miao's identity, but Ying Zheng instructed this person to become Zhao Hong's teacher. "Okay, take me around." Qing Miao didn't go directly to see Zhao Hong, but wandered around in the village. He was probably going to live here in the future, and he also needed to familiarize himself with the current environment. Qing Miao walked to the backyard and said, "How come there are so many children in Zhuangzi?" Qing Miao had never seen such a thing before. There were 50 or 60 children, and there were also men and women. Even the first emperor did not tell him these things. Which of these is Zhao Hong? At this moment, some brave children came over to tease Qing Miao, making him feel very embarrassed. "Sir, don't blame me. The young master has been living deeply in this village and there is no one of the same age, so he has found some playmates of similar ages. Steward Lu, which one among them is Gongzi Hong?" Gongzi Hong. Lu had not finished speaking yet. A childish voice behind him said, "I heard that the gentleman has arrived." "Uncle Lu, where is the gentleman?" Lu quickly introduced, "Young master, this is Mr. Tsen, the master who has invited you." "Sir, I am Zhao Hong. The students are polite now." Zhao Hong bowed deeply. Qing Miao looked at Zhao Hong and felt very satisfied. Although it can be said that the first emperor forced him to come at first, seeing Zhao Hong being so polite at such a young age and his delicate appearance, every move he made just now revealed his clean and neat personality, which I couldn't help but love. "Well, I can recognize you as a student. After staying in prison for so long, he still had to put on a show and then helped Zhao Hong up. "Sir, let me take you to see Zhuangzi. You are my teacher and I will stay in Zhuangzi often in the future. I will help you become familiar with it." Zhao Hong walked around Zhuangzi with Qing Miao, introducing him to the teacher as he walked around. The more Qing Miao looked at it, the more he liked this child. He understood etiquette and had such a thoughtful mind. Zhao Hong felt like he had turned around and said, "Sir, the sages once said that there is no class without education. Although these children are all rural children, I still hope that the master can let them learn with me," Zhao Hong said, looking at the playmates following behind him. Qing Miao also noticed that since Zhao Hong appeared with these children, he has been extremely honest. It seems that Zhao Hong has great prestige among these children, and unconsciously, he has developed a certain liking for him. "Okay, since it's you who said it, I have no objection. Well, education without discrimination, you're right. This is the teachings of our ancestors, and we should remember them. I never thought you could understand these even at a young age." Chapter 6. Dad, I want to cause your rebellion. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The next day after finishing his meal, Yingzheng took Fusu back to Xianyang, and before leaving, he asked Zhao Hong for a world map. Zhao Hong continued to be busy with his own affairs. In addition to building more relationships with nearby farmers, he also needed to find more craftsmen. During this time, he had the craftsmen make a few small items. After returning, Yingzheng divided the pill into 2 parts, one for the livestock to eat and the other secretly distributed to 2 palace guards. Yingzheng may not believe what Zhao Hong said 10 years later now, but he cannot help but think more about what Zhao Hong said about immortals and elixirs. What if Zhao Hong gets it right? A month later, the livestock that had been feeding the pill died, and a guard also showed abnormal physical symptoms. It was inevitable that Yingzheng did not believe what Zhao Hong said. If he had really taken this pill for 10 years, Yingzheng was furious and cursed in the room for a long time, while Zhao Gao watched beside him for some unknown reason, making it difficult to dissuade him. "Zhao Gao. Call on Fusu, I'm going to Zhuangzi." On the way, Yingzheng kept cursing the streets, and Fu Su dared not pick a fight. Zhao Gao didn't understand who Emperor Shi was cursing. "Dad, what's wrong with you?" Zhao Hong looked at his father's expression and thought something was wrong. "It's okay, Honger. It's just that there have been many things going on lately. By the way, Honger, a few days ago, I received a reward from Emperor Shi and gave me a few pills. I remembered what you said, I didn't dare to eat them. I fed 2 of them to the livestock first, and after 2 days, they died. Honger, do you want to tell Emperor Shi about this matter?" "Dad, I wanted to ask you a long time ago. Our family also has the surname Zhao. Is it related to the royal family or the state of Zhao? You hold an official position, and the first emperor rewarded you with elixirs. Isn't our family not simple?" "Oh, our family has some relationship with the Empress Dowager. Speaking of which, we are still part of the Empress Dowager's family. Your father and I have known Emperor Shi since childhood, but now we only have a leisurely title." After listening, Zhao Hong thought to himself, "Dad, I think it's better not to tell Emperor Shi." "Why, didn't you have a high evaluation of Emperor Shi before? Tell him about this, wouldn't it be better for him to live longer?" "Dad, things are not that simple. Leaving aside the fact that you feed the rewarded elixir to livestock, will the first emperor become angry and punish you? The first emperor's pursuit is to do more after immortality, and he can't believe your one-sided words. Moreover, even if the first emperor lives a few more years, it will give more time for the remaining sins of the 6 countries, which will deepen the disaster. Most of the remaining sins of the 6 countries now are officials and aristocratic families in the old land of the 6 countries. The first emperor cannot do it. It can only be after the first emperor dies. Let these people jump out and use thunderous means to eliminate them. They can only have a pure world, my son, since you know these things, but you don't intend to help the first emperor, and what you said about Qin too is so despicable. Are you plotting rebellion? Dad, that's why I said I have some things to prepare for, and then I have to go to Liaodong County. It's precisely because of this. After the death of Emperor Shi, the chaos of the 6 states is inevitable, but if we follow them, we will return to the Zhou dynasty. Zhao Hong pointed to the map. Dad, look at this world. There are Hu Nu in the north and Baiyue in the south. Looking at this place, it's so close to China. Fortunately, with the Tian Shan barrier, the annual harvest of food here is almost continuous. If there is a hero in this place in the future, it may be a disaster for China. Zhao Hong's finger pointed towards the Indo Peninsula. Looking at this place again, Zhao Hong pointed to the Mediterranean. There are many political regimes in this place, and once unified, it will be a huge empire. Everything in this place is different from that of China. Such an empire, facing the sea, does not have enough depth to produce itself and will rely on military plunder. Over time, the culture formed is different from that of China, with great differences. If there is such an empire outside of China, the world will be divided into 2 worlds. If future generations do not have the heart to expand, a great disaster will come 1,000 years later. Although I am young, I know one thing. There is no royal land under Pu Tian. Even if we cannot unify the world now, there can be 2 countries in this world, never 2 worlds. There are still many things that I need to do. Ah, my son, hearing you say that feels like a different world. I thought China was already the world, and the world was so big. You were right, there must be no 2 worlds in this world. Ying Zheng was moved by Zhao Hong's words. Honger, this world cannot be planned in a short time, and it still requires deep planning and foresight. The disaster of the 6 countries is not far away. What do you plan to do? Dad, I'm planning to accumulate strength from now on to wait for changes. First of all, this grain needs to be further cultivated, and the yield of 300 kilograms per mu is still too low. Also, the current gunpowder needs to be improved. I will have arrangements for all of these. Under the watchful eye of the first emperor, there will eventually be too much pressure, and then I will go to Liaodong County. I will develop the northern region of Liaodong, gather the 3 Jin dynasties to devour the entire land, and sit east of Shaoshan to wait for changes in the world. Moreover, I will also send people to Yingzhou Island. Yingzhou Island. What are you doing there? Didn't you say it was a deserted island? Dad, Yingzhou Island is indeed wilderness, and there are only a few indigenous people on it, but that's why I have to send people there. There are many silver mines on Yingzhou Island, and there are also open-pit silver mines. The money needed to achieve great things is there. If it's really what you said, Honger, what do you plan to do after quelling the 6 kingdoms rebellion? Dad, after pacifying the chaos of the 6 kingdoms, I will also establish a great empire like the first emperor. At that time, I will gather all the strength of China, annihilate the Xiongnu to the north, and conquer the sea to the west. What is the 6 kingdoms? I will lead my Chinese cavalry to conquer a large territory. After listening to what Zhao Hong said, Ying Zheng had a new plan. Indeed, as Zhao Hong said, he couldn't completely clean up the remaining evils of the 6 countries. It was better to let Zhao Hong do it. Although some of Zhao Hong's words were too sensational, Ying Zheng understood that some things needed to be planned early. Okay. Honger, you have great ambitions, let go and do it. Dad will definitely do his best to support you. By the way, last time you said you wanted your older brother to stay in Zhuangzi for a while. I think it's great. You also need your own people around you, so let him stay by your side first. Fu Shu is in his 50s this year. Although he is usually knowledgeable and reasonable, his son is not like his father. Ying Zheng has already seen some signs of trouble. If things continue like this, Fu Shu may not be taught by those Confucian scholars to be a corrupt young master who only speaks benevolence and righteousness. His son still needs to know more about this world. Honger, what are you going to do to those courtiers of the first emperor? Dad, these people still need to be used. Especially the Wang father and son, as well as the Meng brothers. These people are pillars of the great Qin dynasty. If only they could be used by me, but unfortunately, after the death of Emperor Shi, Zhao Gao designed to kill the Meng brothers. Oh. And Li Si, who is also a useful talent, unfortunately was also killed by Zhao Gao. Didn't you say before that Li Si was also involved in tampering with the emperor's edict? How can such a person still be used? Dad, Li Si is a talented person but also has a strong desire for power. As long as he can suppress his desire for power, Li Si can still be used. Oh, unfortunately, according to what you said, these people have all died. If only my father were the first emperor. Since Zhao Hong had already made plans, Ying Zheng wanted to click on Zhao Hong. Upon hearing his father's words, Zhao Hong chuckled softly and said, Dad, I'll try my best to save these people. After the big deal is accomplished, you will be the emperor, and these people will be your loyal ministers who will assist you. You can use them to govern the world in the future. Humph, stinky kid, it's not that easy. Ying Zheng was amused by Zhao Hong's words, I'll be the emperor of the world you've conquered. Dad, what's wrong with this? I'm still young now, and you're also a member of the first emperor's family. You're a suitable candidate for the emperor both internally and externally. And as the emperor, I can also let go of some things. Haha, you stinky kid must be coaxing my father. I'll make an agreement with you first, even if you make me emperor, I want you to come and supervise the country, and I want to enjoy the peace and fortune. The father and son talked about something else. Dad, does this village have a name? What's wrong? Ying Zheng didn't know why Zhao Hong asked this question. This was the old village where Ying Zheng lived after returning from Zhao to Qin. Ying Zheng never cared about any names. Dad, it's better to have a name that others will know about me in the future. Then let's call it Zhao Hongfu. In a few days, you can hang the plaque on the door. After finishing the conversation and having dinner, it was already late at night. Ying Zheng and Fusu stayed at Zhao Hong's mansion tonight. The next day, they arranged for Fusu, and Ying Zheng returned to Xianyang. Ying Zheng also has some things to arrange. Since Zhao Hong is going to do it, Ying Zheng has decided to help the venue. Chapter 7. Is Kong Yi coming? You are listening at novelfull.audio. On that day, Zhao Hong and the slave boys finished Mr. Tsun's class. Zhao Hong felt that it was time to start educating these people, so he went out of the mansion with his big brother to the craftsman's shop. It's almost winter now, but the people on both sides of the rural roads are still wearing thin clothes. Zhao Su and Zhao Hong just looked at it all the way. Walk forward to the village where the craftsmen are laying, and as soon as you enter the village, you will see officials going door to collect grain. At this season, why are the officials still levying taxes? Don't they know the laws of the Great Qin? Fusu seemed to ask Zhao Hong, who was beside him, as if muttering to himself. Zhao Hong didn't answer Big Brother's question and continued to move forward. Let's go and have a look. Fusu took Zhao Hong's hand and prepared to go forward and ask these officials. But Zhao Hong stopped him and said, Big Brother, we can't handle these things. Let's go. Fusu suddenly felt that his younger brother was so unfamiliar. These days in Zhao Hong's mansion, Fusu witnessed with his own eyes how Zhao Hong treated the people in the mansion and the people in the surrounding villages. Now, looking at his younger brother's extremely calm expression, he was completely different. Fusu pointed to the officials in the distance. Let's go. Zhao Hong didn't wait for Fusu to continue, pulling Fusu to continue walking. Arriving at the craftsman's shop, Zhao Hong from Fusu encountered officials threatening the craftsman to pay taxes as he entered. Zhao Hong saw that his elder brother was about to rush forward again, so he quickly took a step forward and said, Master, I'm here to deliver the final payment to you. As he spoke, he took out a hanging and a half taels of money, and the officials immediately snatched it, then walked out without any good words. After the officials left, the craftsman came forward to thank Zhao Hong. "I thank you, young master. If it weren't for your help today, I'm afraid I would have been sad," he said. "Master, I'm here today to ask you to make a few things," Zhao Hong said, taking out a blueprint with an abacus on it. "Young master, you have also seen that in this world, I can't stay here anymore. If you don't mind, why don't you come to my place? I have a lot of things for you to do." Zhao Hong didn't wait for the craftsman to finish speaking, as if he was waiting for him to say this. The craftsman pretended to think for a moment and quickly agreed, as if waiting for Zhao Hong to say this. The two of them hit it off and immediately began arranging. Zhao Hong first brought the craftsman back to the mansion, and then arranged for people to move all the craftsman's belongings to the mansion. After settling down, Zhao Hong asked, "I don't know what the master's name is yet. My name is Mu, and in the future, if the young master needs any instructions from me, that's all. First, you can make an abacus. At least 30 are needed, the faster the better. In the future, you will also be needed for paper making. There are no skilled workers in the household now, so you need to bear more responsibilities." Afterwards, Zhao Hong began teaching the slave children abacus and arithmetic. During this period, Fu Su sent 2 letters to Ing Zheng, both of which were about what he saw in the countryside, mostly about injustice. However, Ing Zheng did not pay much attention to these matters. After class this day, Zhao Hong continued to teach the children basic mathematics. Qing Miao walked in and looked at the words written on the abacus used by the students, feeling very strange. He asked Zhao Hong, "Hong, what are you teaching them? What are they writing?" "Sir, I'm teaching them how to use this abacus to do math." Zhao Hong continued to explain these things briefly. "Sir, in my opinion, the current text is still too cumbersome to write or calculate. Sir, look at the numbers I wrote." Zhao Hong wrote down the numbers from 0 to 9 on paper and then explained how to use the numbers. "Macro, are you trying to simplify the text?" "Sir, I am indeed simplifying the text. Look, this is a left biography." Zhao Hong took the paper aside and took out half of the left biography from the bookshelf to show Qing Miao. Qing Miao was stunned, flipping through it over and over again, and in the end, almost despairing, he said to Zhao Hong, "Hong, you have such great talent, I can't teach you anything anymore. To be honest, I'm also making simplified text, but I can't compare to you." Qing Miao complained to the first emperor in his heart, "The first emperor has caused me trouble. This child is not intelligent, he is simply an extraordinary talent. What are you? Oh, let's go." "Sir, don't say that. Although I have written these words, I am inexperienced and inexperienced. I cannot explain how to interpret these words, and the knowledge in the world is so profound. Even if I had words, it would be useless if it weren't for the teacher to teach me." Zhao Hong saw that Qing Miao wanted to leave, so he quickly advised him for a while. "Not to mention himself, where can I teach so many children in Zhuangzi? 10 years later, I will still use these people, and nothing can be said to let Qing Miao leave." Zhao Hong advised Qing Miao for a while before he could regain some of his energy. Zhao Hong took the opportunity to say, "Sir, please stay. Just talking about interpreting the text, we need to rely on you. Moreover, I and the children in Zhuangzi have also been taught by you. How can you leave us alone?" "Hey, okay, I'll stay. I can only do my best to interpret the text, give it a try." Seeing Qing Miao willing to stay, Zhao Hong felt relieved. Zhao Hong roughly explained his understanding of these words, and then handed over this half of the left biography to Qing Miao. Interpreting words is a huge task, and Qing Miao has been reading these words in his room these days besides attending classes. Even though he has experienced simplifying words, interpreting Zhao Hong's words is also very difficult. On that day, Qing Miao was going to Xianyang. He was planning to take half of Zhao Hong's left-handed biography to find Shu Sun Tong and tell him about it. Shu Sun Tong was a disciple of Confucius, the leader of Confucianism, and now he is a scholar waiting for imperial edicts in the great Qin dynasty. He had some interactions with him before. Since I am a disciple of the Confucian leader, should be better in terms of knowledge than myself. But when they arrived at Shu Sun Tong's place, he had no choice. The two of them studied continuously for 10 days, but still had little effect. Yuan-san, can I have this book delivered to my teacher first? I will send someone to deliver it to my teacher and write a letter to explain the reason behind the matter to see if the teacher can do anything about it. Shu Suntong thought of the teacher as he couldn't do anything about this half of the left biography. Okay, let's do it this way. Then I'll go back first. Qing Miao gave the book to his uncle Tong and returned to Zhao Hongfu. Chapter 8. History is about to change. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. In 219 BC, the first emperor lived for 28 years. On that day, the emperor first asked Wang Ben-Menjiai beside him, "Do you think there are immortals in this world?" "Your Majesty." Wang Ben-Menjiai and Wang Ben-Menjiai didn't know how to answer the conversation. They were deeply favored by the first emperor. When the first emperor went out, the two of them accompanied the first emperor in the same car, while in the palace, the two of them served the first emperor left and right. So from the beginning of Emperor Shi's pursuit of immortality until now, they both knew it was worth it, and it was useless for many people to dissuade them. Suddenly, Emperor Shi asked himself what he was doing. I heard a person say that there are no immortal islands in this world, nor are there any elixirs that can make people immortal. I don't believe it, so he took out a map and pointed out the immortal islands that the alchemist said to me one by one. Then he told me that the elixirs refined by those alchemists are all poisonous. I still doubt my beliefs, so he taught me to give the elixirs to the livestock first. I gave one part of the elixir to the livestock, and a secret part to the two guards. The livestock died a month later, and one guard is now half dead. What should I do, Your Majesty? This person may have great talent. If he is appreciated by Your Majesty, he should be summoned to the palace or appointed to an official position, said Meng Yi. He also told me some things. I want to take you two to see this person tomorrow. Let me first agree with you that this person is my son, but he doesn't know my identity yet. Don't expose your identity then. The next day, Yingzheng took Wang Ben and Meng Yi to Zhao Hongfu. Dad, why are you here? Who are these two? This is Wang Jian and this is Meng Shu, both of whom are my father's confidants. Honger, you can rest assured. Since my father has said he will fully support you, these two people, one is the son of the Wang family and the other is the son of the Meng family. Perhaps you will use them in future affairs. These two people have also led troops to fight. Dad, do you plan to use the slave children in your mansion in the future? In terms of literature, you and Mr. Tsen are there, and in terms of martial arts, these two people can help you train them. They will come over normally. Zhao Hong looked at Wang Ben-Menjiai, and there was a strong determination in their bones. Looking at the temperament revealed by these two people, it is obvious that they have fought and killed people. General's talent complements the country's talent. Zhao Hong said. Looking again, the state of these two people is clearly different from before. In fact, the two of them had been muttering to themselves since they just entered, is Emperor Shi really trying to persuade us? This child looks like he's only 6 or 7 years old and says he's the son of Emperor Shi. I believe it, as the father and son just called him so affectionately. But if it's possible to persuade Emperor Shi to suspect immortality, can this 6 or 7-year-old child do it? So many people in the court have tried to persuade Emperor Shi privately, but they still can't resist him. Emperor Shi said that all those words were said by this 6 or 7-year-old child. How could it be possible? After Zhao Hong spoke of his evaluation of the two, Yingzheng, Meng Yi, and Wang Ben both secretly exclaimed, at a young age, I have the wisdom to know people. After a while of talking, Zhao Hong took Wang Ben-Menjiai to see those slave children and then discussed when the two of them would come to teach. "Dad, do you have a horse there?" "I want to learn how to ride a horse," Zhao Hong said to Ying Zheng before leaving. A few days later, when Wang Ben arrived, he brought a few horses. Afterwards, Wang Ben Menjiai will come to teach these people formation and combat techniques separately, and Zhao Hong also proposed to increase physical training. One day, a month later, Ying Zheng looked at the world map and suddenly remembered Su Fu. He had someone call Su Fu over and talk to him about the Immortal Island. Su Fu is still the same cliché as before, and the former Ying Zheng may still believe it. But since hearing Zhao Hong talk about what Xiandao is, Ying Zheng only finds Su Fu's words more and more annoying. Coupled with those so-called immortal pills, Ying Zheng's heart becomes even angrier. But thinking about what his son had said, perhaps he could still use these people, Ying Zheng could only suppress his anger. "Su Fu, I have ordered you to go out to sea to search for the immortal. What do you need to prepare? How much money and time do you need? I will give it to you. You and Meng Yi can handle it." Su Fu gave the first emperor a general idea of what he needed to prepare, exactly as Zhao Hong said, and then the first emperor said, "You can take some alchemists with you, even if you can't invite immortals, let them learn how to make an elixir." After Su Fu withdrew, Ying Zheng instructed Meng Yi, "Once Su Fu has found all the alchemists, you can take them to a place where no one knows and imprison them. You can break their tendons and cut off their tongues except for Su Fu. But no one is allowed to die, and I will be useful in the future. Prepare what they need as usual, so that no one can see anything unusual." Chapter 9. Key Figures, Su Fu Comes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Since Kong Ting read half of the Zhua Zhuan sent by Xu Sun Tong, his daily routine has been to compare the characters of two books with his own Zhua Zhuan, but he couldn't figure it out. Thinking back to the situation mentioned in Xu Sun Tong's communication, Kong Ting decided to go to Xianyang to have a look. After arriving in Xianyang, Kong Ting first found his uncle, Sun Tong, and Qing Miao. The three of them then froze in the room and compared books, but there were no results for 5 days. Qing Miao said, "Confucian leader, I think it's better for you to meet Zhao Hong. Although he is young, he is talented and has a heart for learning. Such talent is a natural Confucian seedling, and with time, it will surely revitalize our Confucianism. To be honest, I have also simplified my writing, but after seeing Zhao Hong's simplified writing, I feel disheartened for a moment." "Oh. You have also simplified the text. Where is the manuscript? Let me take a look." Qing Miao said that his simplification of the text was not only to highlight Zhao Hong, but also to make the Confucian leader pay attention to him, which indeed attracted his attention. Qing Miao took out his simplified script and said, "This is what my disciple saw in prison." Then he recounted the events before and after his simplified script. Kong Ting looked at the words written by Qing Miao and after some thought, he could understand them 7 or 8 times. Then, when he looked at Zhao Hong's words, he was suddenly surprised. "Qing Miao, do you think Zhao Hong completed simplified writing earlier than you?" "Yeah, Ru Shou. I just simplified it to half, and there are still a few difficult points that haven't been overcome. That day, I saw this half of the Zhua Zhuan in Zhao Hong's room. Uncle Sun Tong, look at Zhao Hong's handwriting. It doesn't look like simplified Qing Miao's handwriting," said Kong Ting, pointing to the characters and comparing them one by one for 2 people to see. Then Kong Ting stood up, no longer caring about these 2 people, and made up his mind to meet Zhao Hong. "Kong Fun has come to Xianyang. What is he doing here? Have you investigated thoroughly?" Ying Zheng was listening to the report from the Black Ice Guard when he heard Kong Fun coming to Xianyang and asked a question. The other party is the leader of Confucianism, and in the eyes of Confucian scholars, the status of Confucius and the first emperor is on par. Ying Zheng also wanted to recruit Kong Gui, but since the unification of the 6 states, Kong Gui has been staying in Wei and refusing to be recruited. What is he doing in Xianyang now? The reason why Kong Xian came to Xianyang this time, as discovered below, was that Qing Miao's uncle Sun Tong gave Kong Xian the simplified characters of Gongzi Hong. It is estimated that Kong Xian will go to find Gongzi Hong in a while, said the leader of the Black Ice Guard, Bing Ju. Let the Black Ice Guard continue to follow Kong Xian, but don't let him notice. As long as he doesn't do anything rebellious, there's no need to interfere. If there's anything, report it immediately. Yingjing thought for a moment and then said, Hong Er will send 2 more people to keep an eye on it. After handling this matter, Yingjing remembered Su Fu and others who were secretly detained, and asked Meng Yi. Su Fu and his team have been locked up for over a month. Are these people still alive? Your Majesty, these people have been secretly detained for a month, almost like walking corpses, without any anger. Almost done, call Li Si over. According to Zhao Hong, after Li Si usurped the edict, Zhao Gao framed Li Si and killed him. However, since Hong Er said that Li Si is available, let's send it to Hong Er. Moreover, Li Si is now the leader of wealth, let's see if Hong Er can lower Li Si. After Li Si came over, Yingjing said to Li Si, do you believe in ghosts and gods? Your Majesty, although I am a member of the legalist school, I also know that Zibuyu has strange and chaotic powers, so I naturally do not believe in ghosts and gods. A while ago, I was superstitious about immortality and ordered various regions to recommend alchemists and sorcerers to refine elixirs and search for immortals. Later, one of my sons told me the secret, and after verification, it was true that as my son said, there are no immortals in this world, and the elixirs refined are all poisonous. I don't know which young master has such insight, Li Si asked at the opportunity. Li Si is also a smart person. Since the first emperor summoned him, Li Si can probably imagine what the first emperor is going to do. It is estimated that Fu Su advised Emperor Shi, who was delighted by this matter. Since childhood, Fu Su has been favored by the first emperor and is also the eldest son. Coupled with this matter, it seems that Fu Su should be established as the crown prince. I don't have much interaction with Fu Su, it seems that Emperor Shi is going to make some arrangements for me. I have a son who is out of town and doesn't know his true identity yet. I told him that his father is my cousin, Yingjing said of Zhao Hong's current identity. Su Fu and other sorcerers are secretly detained by Meng Yi, and I want you to give these people to Zhao Hong. However, neither you nor Su Fu are allowed to reveal your names and identities. You can do the specific things. Later, I will tell Hong Er that these sorcerers and sorcerers have angered the first emperor. They were supposed to be executed and were secretly saved by Meng Shu. I will let you bring them over. Yingjing instructed Li to do some more things. Went to pick up someone. Isn't it Fu Su? Isn't it the crown prince? Li Sili thought to himself, and Meng Yi withdrew to lead the people. Upon seeing these people, Li Si said to them, under the wrath of Emperor Shi, you will be executed. My lord, seeing that you are pitiful, cannot bear it and wants to rescue you. However, after rescuing you, you must have nothing to do with your former self, otherwise one day you will be exposed and not die as easily. After another round of threats and coercion, he unified his stance and led these people to Zhao Hongfu. Chapter 10. Kong Di comes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhao Hong has been reading military books these days, and since his father sent Wang Dian Mengshu over, Zhao Hong has also been devoted to studying military tactics. The 2 people sent by my father are not bad. Not only do they practice formations well, but they also have research in military tactics. Li Si met Wang Ben when he arrived at Chuangzi. After exchanging some information, Wang Ben led Li Si to meet Zhao Hong. I am a subordinate of Lord Zhao, named Li Gu. A few days ago, Lord Zhao said that he had saved some people and asked me to send them to the young master. Zhao Hong heard that it was the person saved by his father, and even arranged for the person in front of him who called himself Li Gu to send it, so he could probably guess what father meant. But I feel that the other party is trying to be wary of me, and Zhao Hong is not good at revealing too much. After arranging Su Fu and the others, he said some polite words to Li Si and then saw him off. Then Zhao Hong went to see Su Fu and other people. Seeing these people not only had a dull gaze but also had some problems with their hands and feet, he didn't understand why his father was saving these people. However, he still had to arrange for Uncle Lu, find some doctors later to see if they could still be treated. Let's talk about it later. Su Fu knelt down and said, "Young master, we are still useful. Please take us in. We are still useful, and we can refine pills." The other few people quickly knelt down and stuttered. Su Fu was afraid in his heart. He had just been saved and was considered to have saved his life. However, seeing the child's gaze and tone of voice towards him, he was afraid that he might find himself useless and throw himself away. With a life-saving straw, how could he survive and catch it? "Do you know how to refine pills? Who are you?" Zhao Hong was even more puzzled after listening. Since he could refine pills and was in Xianyang, the first emperor now needed these talents. How could these people end up like this? "Young master, the villain's name is Su Fang, and these people are also my friends. We went to offer elixirs to Emperor Shi, but we didn't know we were harmed by others. The alchemists in the palace slandered us, and Emperor Shi became angry. He cut off our tendons and tongues, and even wanted to kill us. Fortunately, Zhao Daxin was kind enough to save us. Young master, we are still useful, so please keep us." Zhao Hong could explain the details of Su Fang's story, but why did his father save these people? Isn't he causing trouble for himself? What if Emperor Shi found out one day? After a moment of thought, I realized that since my dad had brought me the pills, I happened to have something to do for them. "Oh, since you know how to refine pills, I don't need you to refine them for me. I have other things for you to do. Let the doctor show you first, and I will arrange the situation for you later." Su Fuzhua couldn't figure out what Zhao Hong's smile meant, but it seemed that his life was safe for now. Zhao Hong remembered the wood in Zhuangzi, and it was time for him to take out something to make it, but he still had to wait for his father to come back and inquire about it. After handling these matters, someone informed Mr. Zhao Hongzhen that he had returned, and Zhao Hong quickly went to pick him up. Zhao Hong met Mr. Zhen outside the mansion door and saw an additional carriage behind him. Zhao Hong asked, "Sir, who is on the carriage?" "The person sitting in this car is Confucius. I didn't understand the evolution of your words after reading them before, so I showed your book to Confucius. Confucius came specifically to read you." "Oh. The master is here. Sir, take me to visit him quickly." Zhao Hong was overjoyed and didn't expect such a harvest. Kong Ting was the 8th-generation grandson of Confucius. In the original history, after the first emperor burned books and pitted Confucianism, Kong Ting collected books and hid Confucian classics such as the Analects, Shangshu, and Shaojing, which were lost in the late Qin dynasty, in the walls of his old house. He then lived in seclusion on Mount Song and followed Chen Sheng to rebel against Qin. Later, Chen Sheng was defeated in battle, and Kong Ting was also killed. Since Kong Shi is a descendant of Confucius and a great scholar of the time, such a person can come specifically to see him. Not to mention how Kong Shi views himself, there is still much room for discussion in the future. Student Zhao Hong has seen master before. Zhao Hong bowed deeply and Kong Ting looked at Zhao Hong from the car. At such a young age, does this child really have such profound knowledge to simplify such concise writing? "You are Zhao Hong, good child, get up," Kong Xian said as he got off the car. He, the leader of Confucianism, was not even willing to put on airs with a child, nor did he deliberately make things difficult for Zhao Hong. Zhao Hong invited the two into the mansion. Kong Ting saw so many children in the mansion and asked Zhao Hong what was going on. Zhao Hong explained to Kong Ting why these children were here and how Mr. Zhen and Wang Yanmeng taught them skills. "Let's go in, I have some things to talk to you about." Kong Xian pondered to himself. This person's ambition is not small, and now it is the busy farming season. He has gathered so many people and needs to teach them civil and military skills. Kong Xian looked at Zhao Hongji's tender back. This person may not be simple, Kong Xian thought to himself. After entering the room, the guests sat down, and Kong Ting first asked, Zhao Hong, I saw your simplified characters, they are so perfect, and they have already been completed. Why not make them public to the world? Master, although I have completed the simplification of writing, I cannot say the structure behind it. That day, I came across Mr. Tsin's simplified writing manuscript by chance and had some inspiration, so I wanted to explain how these characters evolved before taking out my characters. Zhao Hong had already thought about Kong Qian asking himself what the foundation of simplified writing was when he met him outside the mansion. Fortunately, when he saw Qing Miao also simplifying writing during his lecture, he decided to take over from him. As the teacher arrived, I asked him to write a dictionary that includes all the words and can explain their meanings. This matter may take a long time, so why don't you start with Mr. Tsin and me first? This kid has already started trying to keep people. If we start with Qing Miao and him, I'm afraid we'll have to stay with him for the next few years. This kid is so cunning, Kong Yi thought to himself. Yes, the first emperor unified the 6 kingdoms with the same script and carriage, and he needed your words and this book. When you present it to the first emperor, your wealth and honor will be guaranteed for a lifetime. Kong Xian was trying to test Zhao Hong, and Zhao Hong knew it was also testing. This Kong Xian had been summoned by the first emperor several times since the first emperor unified the 6 kingdoms, and according to the original history, the first emperor burned books and buried Confucian scholars and hated the first emperor to death. How could he do this for the first emperor? Master, my ambition is not here. This book was compiled for all the people of the world, not for the first emperor alone. Oh. So what are your aspirations? Confucius was somewhat pleased. Since it was not for the sake of Emperor Shi and his own prosperity, but for the benefit of the people of the world, he was naturally willing to do it. Moreover, this matter was also a powerful tool for Confucianism and would have great benefits for other scholars and schools of thought. Zhao Hong stopped talking. There were 3 people in this room. Kong Ting was accurate, but Mr. Tsin was not sure. He couldn't say something in front of Mr. Xian. Qing Miao is still very witty. When he saw Zhao Hong silent, he said he wanted to go and see other students, and then left the room with only Zhao Hong and Kong Jiao left. Master, do you think it's better for China to be unified or for other countries to be in theft? If it were for those ambitious individuals, it would naturally be the pursuit of enfeoffment to other countries. However, for China, unification is the trend, and not any ambitious individual can control it at will. Even if there may be mutual power in the future, it will eventually be unified. Master, you are right. Although the development law of history is that it will be divided and merged for a long time, the idea of great unity will be deeply rooted in the consciousness of the Chinese people from the beginning of Emperor Shi's unification of China. The world is vast and prosperous, and those who follow it will prosper and those who oppose it will perish. Even those who are greedy for power will eventually be abandoned by the development of history. Besides, will the descendants of the 6 countries defeated by Emperor Shi be willing to let Qin unify the world? These people naturally wouldn't be willing to do things, but the first emperor used force to sweep the 6 countries and unify China. Now that Qin and the first emperor are at their peak, these people can't afford to stir up any trouble. As long as the successor of the first emperor is a wise monarch, they can also suppress them. Master, what you said is not true. The first emperor unified China by force, but the greatness of the country cannot be achieved through force alone. You see, after the unification of the first emperor, most of the officials appointed in various regions were from the 6 kingdoms, and the strength of the aristocratic families in various regions was still strong. After the unification of the first emperor, the same books and writings offended the scholars in various regions, the same carriages and rails offended the aristocratic families, the same form and quantity of currency and balance offended the wealthy and merchants in the world, and the repair of the Qin Direct Road and the Li Mountain Mausoleum disrespected the people of the world. It is said that the construction of the Afong Palace would also be necessary. Master, think about it, who else in the world can offend after the death of the first emperor? To help the second emperor, if his methods are slightly inferior to those of the first emperor, then the flood awaits him. The first emperor also pursues immortality, wasting his national strength. Master, what do you think of the world after the first emperor? Internal and external troubles are right in front of us. After Emperor Shi, the world will be in chaos again. How can the people suffer? Zhao Hong, what are your plans? Master, I won't hide it from you. You have also seen that these slave children in my village are not just playing with me. When the world changes, these people will be my right arm. Be prepared early to prevent any trouble. I'm afraid you can see what will happen after the first emperor. If we hand over this world to those descendants of the six kingdoms, it will only be a setback in history. At that time, China will fall into deep internal friction. Master, Zhao Hong took out a map. I have East Hu, North Xiongnu, West Yu, and these have been my great enemies of China since ancient times. We are a family in the world, and we cannot tolerate others snoring on the side of our beds. And what those descendants of the six countries need to do is to hand over my Chinese culture to these foreign tribes. Do you think so? Kong Yen was startled. He never expected this to be the perspective of a 7-year-old child. A major change may be imminent, and it's better for me to unify with others. Kong Xian felt like he had passed away in another world. He personally experienced the coexistence of 7 states and the sweeping of 6 states by Qin. He was not unaware of the overall situation of the world. But the resentment towards Qin lingered in my heart, so I never served. Now that the child in front of me, who is 38 years younger than me, has such aspirations, it gives me another opportunity to realize my aspirations. Having these people is not enough. How do you plan to develop in the future? Kong Xian asked Zhao Hong again. Zhao Hong and Kong Yen talked about their future plans and continued to chat until the next day when they were on the verge of success. Kong Yi decided to stay, both to fulfill his ambitions and to educate Zhao Hong. The relationship between teachers and students has been extraordinary since ancient times. With this relationship, Confucianism can firmly bind itself to the same chariot as Zhao Hong, whom he has admired. On that day, Confucianism will not only gain simplified words and new dictionaries. But Kong Ting did not make Zhao Hong formally apprentice. Kong Ting had to make long-term plans, but Zhao Hong was still too young and had a long time to go. He could watch him step by step. Chapter 11. Fusu returns. You are listening at novelfull.audio. One day, Zhao Hong watched Wang Ben train slave children. After Wang Ben finished training, Zhao Hong pulled Wang Ben and said, "Uncle Wang, do you know General Wang Jian?" Wang Ben was taken aback for a moment, but he thought about other convenient actions as long as he did not reveal his identity as instructed by Emperor Shi. I know, General Wang is the head of my Wang family, and he is also my uncle. Uncle Wang, take me to see General Wang. Before Wang Ben could react, Zhao Hong pulled Wang Ben and walked out. Young master, young master. Wang Ben broke free from Zhao Hong's grip on his hand. Young master, General Wang usually avoids the powerful. Your father doesn't usually see him, so it's impolite for us to suddenly pass by like this. I'll tell General Wang when I have time. If he wants to see you, I'll take you there. Okay, I'm too anxious. Uncle Wang, could you help me ask the old general a question? I want a strategy to pacify the 6 kingdoms. Wang Ben didn't know what Zhao Hong's strategy of pacifying the 6 kingdoms meant, but this matter had to be reported to the first emperor. On that day, Yingzheng happened to come to Zhao Hong's mansion. Zhao Hong had something to ask clearly. Dad, what are you doing to save those people? Aren't they all death row inmates set by the first emperor? What if they were discovered by the first emperor later and still recovered? Didn't you say you wanted to send someone to Ingzhou Island? I've inquired, and these people are all from Langjie County and Jiaodong County, and privately they have also said they have seen Xiandao. Dad originally intended to bring Su Fu to you, but unfortunately he has already gone to sea. If these people are useful, you can make do with them. First Emperor, rest assured that these people have been executed on the surface, and no one will pay attention to them anymore. By the way, Dad, why did you come over today? Dad wants to tell you to let your elder brother come back to me after the spring plowing is over. After all, the eldest son Fusu cannot leave Yingzheng for too long, otherwise it will be detrimental to his position, so Yingzheng wants to take Fusu back. And recently, Hu Hai has become more and more disrespectful, and he also wants Fusu to go back and discipline himself, and Yingzheng is also preparing for a parade. Well, since my elder brother came to Zhuangzi, he has undergone significant changes. Moreover, the child sees that my elder brother's ambition is not material for rebellion, but rather a talent of Taiping Xianjun or Wangzhou. Oh, you dare to comment on your big brother now, you're quite brave. This kid is indeed extraordinary, not only with lofty ambitions, but also with the ability to recognize people. Your big brother is not suitable for being a king who expands territory, but he will definitely help you in the future. Your big brother will eventually be your own brother. Yingzheng remembered Hu Hai again. His son had been arrogant since childhood and his personality had become increasingly eccentric. Looking back at what Honger had said, it seemed that some things could really be told by Zhao Hong. Zhao Hong looked at his father, who was quite happy just now, but then he frowned and said, "Dad, what's wrong with you?" "Dad is thinking about your other brother Zhao Hai. Hai Er has been a domineering person since childhood, but now she is becoming increasingly withdrawn and unpredictable. I'm afraid it's not a good thing for you, but I hope you can treat your brother well in the future." Yingzheng has experienced the Qingjiao rebellion, and he only hopes that Hu Hai won't be confused and follow the old path of becoming a Jiao in the future. "Dad, this is not a coincidence. Confucius is currently at my residence, and I am also studying military and formation techniques. I plan to visit General Wang Jian in the future. Dad, bring Brother Hai over, I haven't seen him yet. And I can say that I can't find a better teacher than Confucius. Later, I will invite General Wang to teach him both civil and military skills. Maybe he can also learn some skills in the future, which is better than him following the crowd like he does. Do you want to see Marquis Wucheng?" Yingzheng was surprised. Is Zhao Hong's thinking so detached? "Dad, I had originally asked Wang Dian to take me to see General Wang today, but it was Wang Dian who reminded me so recklessly that it would make me look too impolite. That's why I asked Wang Dian to take a look first. If General Wang has any objections, I will go see General Wang again." "Honger, do you know that since the pacification of the Six Kingdoms, Marquis Wucheng has not even gone to the court, and he does not usually see the powerful?" "Dad, I asked Wang Dian to consult the old general on the strategy of pacifying the 6 countries on my behalf." "You." "Dad, I didn't want to tell the old general about the future, but I don't have anything to make him pay attention to now, so I'm trying this strange question on the old general. And I really have a place to consult the old general. Although Wang Dian and Meng Shu are also proficient in military tactics, I feel that the experience accumulated by the old general after so many wars can teach me more." "Okay, let's do as you say. Then let your big brother go back tomorrow and bring Hai over. After the spring plowing is over, let your big brother go back." After the negotiation, Yingzheng led Fusu and Wang Ben back to Xianying first, and he had to personally arrange the affairs of Wang Jian and Hu Hai. "Wang Ben, tomorrow you go and invite Marquis Wucheng. I have something to tell the old general," Yingzheng said to Wang Ben outside the carriage. "Fusu, come and tell me about your affairs at the mansion." Fusu explained to Yingzheng what he had seen and thought of in the mansion, and explained it in great detail. "Not bad, you have grown a lot during your few months at the mansion. My son is still very smart. After staying at the mansion for a few months, he has gained a deeper understanding of the country than before. Although Fushu is now a bit extreme, as long as he teaches him well, there is no problem. What do you think of your younger brother? Ingzheng wanted to know how Fusu viewed Zhao Hong. Father, said Fu Su and Ingzheng about what they saw on the way to the craftsman's shop, and their reaction to the incident with Zhao Hong. Father, isn't Hong's reaction too cold? Fusu, how does your younger brother usually treat the people? Usually, Hongdi treats the people extremely well. Even in winter, he personally goes to see how the people around him are doing, which is very helpful. He treats the slaves as ordinary people. Fusu, your younger brother is doing the right thing. He is going to rebel against me. For a wealthy young master, whether it's buying people's hearts or treating them sincerely, it's not a problem. But for an emperor, there are countless low-level officials like this in the world, and even killing what we see in front of us is of no use. The emperor should have a broad mind of the world, and if we have to do everything ourselves, how can we control the entire country? Father, I think Hongdi is more suitable to be an emperor than I am. Oh. Is that what you think? Father, Hongdi has more foresight than his subordinates, and his talent, intelligence, and ambition are far greater than those of his subordinates. Ha ha ha, do you know about Fushu? Your younger brother just told me that you have the talent of Wangzhou, saying that you must be a wise monarch during the Taiping period. Your brothers are rare in the world when it comes to the royal family. Ingzheng was very happy, as he was worried yesterday whether Hu Hai would become the second spoiled woman. He didn't expect his two sons to love each other so much. As a father, he comforted him a lot. Ingzheng was happy for a while before continuing to say to Fu Su, it's also a blessing for me in the Qin dynasty if you really think so. If your brothers can assist me, I can rest assured. Then Ingzheng changed his serious face and said, Fushu, I'm afraid this world will really belong to your younger brother after me. Do you know what your younger brother and Kong Yen talked about all night? I am unaware of this matter. Ingzheng handed the report written by Black Ice Guard to Fusu, which contained the conversation between the two of them that night. Take a look. After watching the cold sweat, Fu Su exclaimed, Father, this is it. Honger is right. The reason why the Great Qin seems strong now is actually because I am here. I can control these uneasy forces and factors. But even you may not be able to control them after 100 years, let alone your other brothers. Even if I can make some improvements now, I cannot completely eliminate the trouble. It seems that only Honger can do it. If you have this heart, please assist Honger. Ingzheng and Fusu talked all the way to the palace. Chapter 5. Emperor Shi, please do not eat elixirs. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. In the blink of an eye, it was the season for grain harvest. Zhao Hong took all the people from the village to his own land to harvest grain, and he wanted to prove that his method was effective. 300 jin. 300 jin per mu. A day fengshu, salad of assorted fresh vegetables. The farmers cheered after the harvest. Zhao Hong stood on the edge of the field, but his face was not happy. Lu couldn't help but ask, Young master, what's wrong with you? I don't know how my father is doing. After such a long time, the first emperor should have started seeking immortality in medicine, Zhao Hong thought to himself, and then said to the slave boys around him, let's go back to Zhuangzi. He didn't care about the food anymore. It was enough for Zhao Hong to prove that his method was effective. Leave enough of these grains to eat, and then distribute the rest. Finally, Zhao Hong instructed Lu. Ingzheng was indeed searching for immortals in medicine, and it started after Zhuangzi returned. At first, Ingzheng didn't take what his son said seriously, but it became increasingly wrong, and everything that happened perfectly matched what Zhao Hong said. Emperor Shi looked at the elixir brought by an alchemist today. The alchemist said that taking it would prolong life, and taking it for a long time would lead to immortality. However, Emperor Shi couldn't take it anymore. Put the pill back into the box, and Emperor Shi ordered these people to retreat. Black Ice Guard, have you found anything? Since the last time Emperor Shi went to Zhuangzi to see Zhao Hong, he sent Black Ice Guard to secretly patrol around Zhuangzi, to see who Zhao Hongping had contact with and whether there were any suspicious people inside and outside the Zhuangzi. Your Majesty, there is no abnormality. This is the list of people that young Master Hong has been in contact with on a daily basis. Ing Zheng looked at the list in a daze and thought to himself, how can Honger understand so much at such a young age? He couldn't help but wonder. Zhao Gao, prepare the carriage and horses, call on Fusu, I want to go and see Honger. Ing Zheng and Fu Su, sitting in the carriage, heard that farmers in the fields around Zhuangzi were talking about Zhao Hong's Daifengshu, salad of assorted fresh vegetables, in Zhuangzi, and talking about the farming methods Zhao Hong had said before. I didn't expect Honger to have such abilities, but I can't guess where he came from with these insights at a young age, said Ing Zheng, getting happier as he listened. Ing Zheng pushed the door and said, Honger, I heard that your farm uses your farming method to produce 300 kilograms per mu. Ing Zheng had already imagined how happy Zhao Hong would be on the road, how he would dance and show off to himself, and how he would watch Honger calmly copying books on the desk as usual. Zhao Hong saw his father and big brother coming. Dad, the farming business is all about watching the weather and eating. What I did was bury the seeds deeper, and with the coordination of wind and rain this year, there's nothing special about it. What's wrong, Honger? It seems like you're not happy. Yielding 300 pounds per mu is a big deal. If it weren't for Zhao Hong's inconvenient status now, Ing Zheng would have wanted to offer the grain produced in Zhao Hongzhuang to the ancestral temple. Dad, although I advised the people around me to cultivate in this way during the spring plowing, no one believed it. Although I produce 300 kilograms per mu here, it is still a drop in the bucket. After the autumn harvest, the Qin state conscripts and levies taxes, and the heavy burden falls on the farmers. This winter, I'm afraid I will still starve to death and freeze to death. That's why I distributed the surplus grain on the farm. Brother Hong, although the great Qin dynasty levies taxes every year, it still shows empathy for the people. Moreover, the officials and gentry of the Qin state are clear and there are laws and regulations in place. I don't think there should be any problems, said Fu Su. Since hearing from his father the emperor about his younger brother's vision and abilities, he also attaches great importance to his younger brother. But what my younger brother said today was somewhat different from what he usually learned and heard. I'm afraid my younger brother, although intelligent, is still too young to understand these things, Fusu thought to himself. Big brother, you're right. The state of Qin indeed has laws and tax standards, but the bureaucratic system is so huge, and the gentry are mostly officials or have a joint relationship with them. Even though the laws and standards of Qin were first controlled by the emperor in the court, they were implemented layer by layer at the official level, and at the grassroots level, they were not the original standards. If the taxes formulated by the state of Qin were tithes, the exploitation by the officials and gentry would probably result in half of them being levied on the heads of the common people. Although you've heard that the gentry were pure and clear, it's probably only what the gentry and those who have interests with them said. These people only care about their own families. Interests don't care about the people at the bottom who are being squeezed. Moreover, the current laws and regulations are unclear and the punishment is not deep. It's time to plant winter wheat again after the autumn harvest. Big brother, why don't you stay on the farm for a while? After seeing some people and things, you also need to see others and see how other people are living. Fusu was left speechless by his younger brother, and Ing Zheng was pleased to see Zhao Hong's profound knowledge. However, he had something more important to say to Zhao Hong. Honger, this period of time is indeed what you said. The first emperor began to seek immortality in medicine, and what those alchemists and sorcerers said was also similar to what you told me. Is this immortal elixir really fake? Dad, did any alchemists mention the matter of Xiandao? Yes, especially there is a person named Su Fu who talks about the affairs of Xiandao in detail. Dad, I have something for you to take a look at. Zhao Hong took out the world map of the check that IN reward and pointed to the Korean peninsula, Jeju Island, and Japan Island in later generations to show Yingzheng. Dad, these islands are actually what they call fairy islands, but they are just wild islands. Su Fu was originally from Langya County, so it should be the first time he went out to sea and saw such an island from afar. Yingzheng looked at the world map in a daze and said, "Are there really no immortals on these islands?" "No, these islands are just deserted islands." Su Fu used these excuses to deceive Emperor Shi, asking for more money, items, and boys and girls, so he could go to the islands and have a free life. What about the elixir? Yingzheng was still unwilling. Zhao Hong saw that his father was not giving up yet. Those are just poisons refined by sorcerers using poison. People may feel refreshed just after eating them, but they are just symptoms after poisoning. If these pills were given to the 6 livestock, they would take about a month to die, but people's physique is stronger than that of the 6 livestock. However, Emperor Shi has been eating them for so long, and he cannot live long. Zhao Hong's words and Yingzheng's listening made Yingzheng more and more incredulous. However, every sentence Zhao Hong said before was true, and now he has taken out the map and clearly told himself the location of the so-called Immortal Island. Zhao Hong said again, "Dad, that's why I told you I need to make some preparations in Zhuangzi and then go to Liaodong. If Emperor Shi eats like this for 2 or 3 years, his body will start to get sick. If he eats like this for 6 years, his body will get seriously ill. If he eats like this for 10 years. How about 10 years? After eating like this for 10 years, the emperor should die suddenly. What are you saying?" Yingzheng almost jumped up, almost shouting. Fusu was so scared that he couldn't speak next to him. "Dad, please keep your voice down. Anyway, I've already said it, why don't I explain it to you? Dad, after the death of Emperor Shi, the world will be in chaos." "Wait, why would there be chaos in the world after the death of Emperor Shi?" Yingzheng didn't turn around. "Dad, after the death of Emperor Shi, there were remnants of the 6 kingdoms outside and treacherous officials within, which is why there was a great chaos. It is true that the remaining sins of the 6 kingdoms are outside the court, but when it comes to the present court, there is Meng Tian guarding the border outside, the Wang family father and son inside, and Feng Quji, Li Si, Meng Yi and others in the court. These people are loyal and virtuous of the great Qin, how could there be treacherous officials?" "Dad, hey," Zhao Hong simply explained to Yingzheng how Zhao Gao and Li Si tampered with the edict, how they supported Hu Hai, how Zhao Gao persuaded and forced the killing of the Fu Su and Meng brothers, how they controlled the court, and how Zhao Gao killed Li Si afterwards. "Impossible, impossible." Yingzheng's eyes froze as he listened. He couldn't believe that Zhao Gao, who had always been loyal to him, would do these things after his death. Although Hu Hai was a bit eccentric and stubborn now, he couldn't imagine Hu Hai killing his big brother. He even began to wonder if his son had hysteria. Beside him, Fusu had already collapsed on the ground with straight eyes. Zhao Hong knew that his father and elder brother were frightened by what he had said, so he called someone and asked them to stay in the manor today.